Sick Life, Beat Depression. It's day 770, and I'm ready to get sweaty with another somatic healing session to wipe out depression. Thank you so much, anybody who's tuning in now, anybody who's tuning in later. As you know, we start every single show with that powerful mental health tool of gratitude. Today, my gratitude going out to Curiosity by Intrinsic for hosting us, for sharing their space and allowing us to make a positive impact out here in my hometown of Kearney, New Jersey. Appreciate those guys and girls over there. And I also want to shout out gratitude to everybody who came out. Really appreciate people tuning in, showing up for themselves, showing up for others, and giving new options a chance, exploring new options and finding new tools that might be the ones that work for them to help give them that release of stress, anxiety, frustration, depression, who knows. We never know what's going to benefit us until we give it a shot. We give it a go. Shout out as well, gratitude to Alexander. Thanks for being the first one in, buddy. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for your support. And thank you for being part of my gratitude section today. You can go ahead and think about the thing you're grateful for today. That'll help put you in a positive mindset as we move into today's lesson. Today is day 770, and that second mental health tool that we cover every single day is our progress tracking tool. So if you've been making daily progress, crushing that daily accomplishable goal that builds you up both in mind and body, it's a good idea to keep track of it, and that way it can build up even more into more self-esteem, self-validation, and that's something that not even depression can take away from us. Hey, Alexander says he's grateful to have met the Sacrament. I'm grateful to meet you too, buddy. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate your energy out there and all the support that we're able to give to each other. And come out next time. We're gonna have another free session in 2 weeks out here in Kearney at the Curiosity by Intrinsic. We'll be doing a moving meditation through martial arts like we did today. It's a nice low intensity, good entry-level martial arts class, and we shared a lot of different mental health tools. So you are all welcome. Anybody who's tuning in, anybody who's following the cause, you're all welcome to come out for a free session. We're going to try and create more and more free sessions in my local town while I'm still here awaiting that Beat Depression bus to be repaired. Shout out to Luca. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for tuning in all the way from Canada. And Lisa the Luminary, thank you for being so consistent and showing up regularly. And it's got to be what, Lisa? 470 days? Is that where we're at today, Lisa? It's 770 for me. It's got to be 470 for you. And that is amazing. Thank you guys so much for being consecutive, for keeping track of that progress and sharing that progress. Let me know if I'm right. I'm pretty sure I'm right on that one. But over a year, just grinding, just moving forward every day. Shout out as well to Lance in a Trance. Thank you for joining. And Lisa's confirmed, yes sir, 470 days of progress. That's what it's all about. Now, no matter whether you show up today for 1 minute or the full 10-minute routine of exercise, every single step you take forward counts. It's very important to give yourself credit for every step that you take forward, because make no mistake, if you are dealing with depression, it is a life-threatening disease. And every step that you take forwards in the face of that mental illness is something to be proud of. It's proof of your strength. It's proof of your endurance. And that's why we want to keep track of it, so we can give ourselves accurate proof of our strength, of our resiliency and our endurance in this battle for better mental health. Because depression would love nothing more than to convince us that we're not strong, right? That we're not capable of doing what we're clearly doing here every single day, which is getting up and fighting forwards for ourselves. So thank you for sharing that number, Lisa. Please do keep track of that number out there, everybody else, if you are showing up regularly for yourself. And today we're going to have a higher intensity, kind of medium intensity round, but it's our standard rounds, 3 minutes each. 1 minute breaks in between to catch your breath and drink some water. I'm going to use Bob a little bit to illustrate a point we're going to be making today. We're going to be practicing some slips and some counters. We'll talk about how those work and a couple of different ways that you can counter a few of our basic shots. We'll still have our fundamentals in there, that jab and that cross. If you're not familiar with Muay Thai stance guide is available on our main page at the bottom of the Martial Arts for Mental Health class section. And shout out to Maddie Hojland for joining. Appreciate you out there. So we're going to be working from Muay Thai stance. Nice high guard by the brow line. Close the fingers, tuck the thumbs into proper fist, tuck in the chin, rolling those shoulders, right? We're nice and balanced, nice and even stance. We're going to be working with that step in for the jab, rotate for the cross, and then we're going to talk about slips, slipping that jab, slipping that cross. And when we talk about slips, we're going to talk about them strategically. We want to build our fight IQ so that we can set up our next shots and create openings for us to land punches when we are training. If we're training, technical training on the Bob dummy, sparring with a friend, or even when you're hitting the bag, it's good to visualize real life situation and kind of create those openings. So when we talk about this stance, we usually leave our dominant hand in the back. That's our rear leg. And that's called orthodox stance. And Lucas said, I see a real turkey today. Appreciate that. I'm glad, buddy. I hope you're having a good time out there with the turkeys. Pretty cool. Say hello to them for me. Tell them the Sacman said hello. All right, so let's square up into Muay Thai stance. And when we're talking about orthodox stance. That means our dominant hand is in the back, our rear leg. That's where that dominant hand is. The other leg is going to step forwards. Non-dominant hand is going to be your jab. Dominant hand is going to be your cross. And when we slip those incoming shots, we're going to talk about slipping them from another opponent who is also in orthodox stance. So if they're in southpaw stance, then this lesson's not going to apply because everything's going to be reversed. But when we're orthodox and they're orthodox, when our opponent throws a jab, we're going to slip with our jab hand, turning through those shoulders and hips the same way that we turn when we toss that jab. When they throw a cross, notice the hips and shoulders are rotating for that cross. We're going to slip and turn the same way, using the cross hand to slip that punch. And when we're slipping those punches, the reason we want to use the same hand that they're using from the same side is because it's going to put us on the outside of those punches, and that's going to create an opening for us to fire back with a nice counter. So we're going to talk about a couple counters today, but just to illustrate my point, if you can imagine Bob has arms, and Bob is an orthodox fighter, just like we're going to be today. When Bob tosses that jab, right, the jab from his lead side, if I rotate around, that jab's coming in towards my head, and I slip with the jab hand, where does that put my head? It puts his hand on the outside, right? And it puts my head on the outside of his shot. Now you can imagine his arm is right here, just past my head, right? I've turned out of the way. And what that does is it opens up that space for our counters. So you can picture Bob with his hand extended, our head's out here, and now we can counter back. Body shot, head shot, or even come right up that center line and catch him with an uppercut. So we're going to talk about a couple of those. We're going to do the same thing with the cross side, and hopefully you guys can find room to grow and improve those skills, and also give yourselves a bit of a cardio workout, a bit of a high intensity workout at the same time while we practice these other mental health tools. Remember, in order to keep it mental health focused, we've got to visualize that opponent. If you don't have a Bob or a bag at home, it's very important to visualize that opponent in front of you and assign it the thing you want to work on. If it's depression or anxiety, make it the depression dummy or the anxiety dummy. Shout out to Slayer Ken for being in here. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for tuning in, staying consistent, grinding, staying regular out there. Appreciate you, man. Remember, every single step forward counts. Keep track, keep count of those steps, as they will add up into more and more mental resiliency and proof of that mental resiliency. Make sure you guys and girls are staying hydrated out there, and we're going to get right into the lesson. So we're going to start off with those jabs and crosses. Shout out to Bro Loney, the brother out there, Mike the Executioner. Thank you for tuning in today and showing up as well to our live event at Curiosity. And Slayer Ken just shared his days at 378 days, over a year of progress, consistent progress. I'm proud of you, Ken. Thank you for sticking with us and showing up for yourself for over a year every single day and sharing that progress with us so we can benefit from it as well. Thank you so much for that. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to use the Stranger Beat today from SackLifeOfficial.com on Spotify. If you're on Spotify, you can give us a stream. Music is free. Feel free to train to it. Let me know what you think. And we're going to get right into this thing. So go ahead and pop into your Muay Thai stance. And that didn't work. What happened? Oh, there it is. All right. Should be coming up. See if the volume's good. There we go. All right. So go ahead and pop into your Muay Thai stance. guard nice and high by that brow line, right? And when we're going to talk about that proper fist, we're going to close the fingers like we're giving a thumbs up, and then tuck that thumb behind those top 2 fingers. Keeping the wrist nice and straight, we've got a proper fist there. We're going to bring those fists high by the brow line, tucking the chin in, keeping that guard nice and tight. And we're going to step in for the 1, twist into the 1, twist into the 2, and then we're going to deflect a jab. So we're going to visualize that depression dummy tossing the jab back at us, and we're going to deflect it. Remember, deflect with the same hand. When we're fighting an orthodox fighter, we're deflecting with the jab hand when they throw the jab, the cross hand when they throw the cross. Let's get into it. We're starting this thing right up. We're going to roll right on through. Visualize that dummy, pop into stance, and let's start by just tossing that jab cross down the center line, nice and quick. Find your rhythm, keep that balance. Toss those jabs and crosses down that center line, chin tucked, nice and tight, shoulders rolled high. Send those fists down the center line, and remember, rotate on the front, rotate on the back, and drive those fists in, making contact with that visualized target. Visualize making contact with those large 2 knuckles. Bang, bang. Straight forwards and then back to stance. Keep that body weight shifting back and forwards from the front foot to the back foot. Knees bent slightly so you can rotate and rotate through those punches. We're going to start working in the slip now. So we're going to toss that jab, rotate for the cross, and then we're going to slip. When we slip, we're bringing that elbow into the center line. We're keeping the guard high by the brow line, and we're not blocking our vision. We want to just turn that head off that center line. Keep that guard nice and tight. We want to close guard, side guard. We want to be able to see that opponent. So turn that body just like you would for the jab, but bring that elbow into the center line as a guard, and we're going to deflect that jab. Visualizing that jab coming in. Back to stance. Toss the jab cross, and deflect the jab. Boom. Right there. Remember, deflect the jab with the jab hand, deflect the cross with the cross hand. Back to stance. Jab cross. Now deflect that jab. There it is, and we're going to talk about a counter. We put ourselves on the outside of that punch, right? The opponent tossed the jab in, we just deflected it. We're on the outside of that punch, and now we have options. We're going to come back first to the head with a hook to the head, rotating through. So let's start the whole thing from the beginning. Toss the jab and cross, boom, boom. Slip the incoming jab, there it is, bang. We're slipped, and now we're loaded and ready to fire back with a counter. We're going to toss a hook right to their head, rotating on the rear foot. Toss that hook forwards, bam, and cap them right in the head there. Back to stance, guard nice and high, hit him with the jab cross. Slip the cross, slip the jab from here. Slip in the jab with the jab hand, and we're preloaded. We're going to toss that hook into the head, rear hook. Arms going up, lock in that elbow in at 90, rotate on the rear foot, boom. Bringing that fist around and hitting them where it hurts, right where we open up, creating that opening for ourselves. Step in for the jab cross, back to stance, slip that incoming jab, and toss a hook to counter. Bam, right into the head, back to stance, guard high. Shout out to Reed Brickman, thanks for being here. We're doing slips and counters. Pop into your stance, hit him with the 1-2. Back to stance, slip the 1, right, slip the jab, and now we're going to toss that hook, whoosh. Boom, rotating through the body, keeping the guard high, and capping them right in the head there. That is the end of round 1. Catch your breath, drink some water. In round 2, we're going to slip the cross, and we're going to counter back from that slip off the cross. And we're going to make it more and more complicated and give you more and more room and tools to grow in round 3 as well. And thank you again, Ree. It's good to see you out here. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're making progress, taking steps forwards, finding room to grow, because as you know, being a martial artist, there's unlimited room for progress, unlimited room for growth, and that progress is success out here. Taekwondo and Muay Thai have such different stances. Yeah, there's so many cool different stances. And when you cross-train and you link up with other martial artists, you can mix them and create a really creative flow-based routine for yourself. That's one of my favorite things to do, is just toss a couple elements from different martial arts in there when we're sparring, when we're training. It just makes things much more fun. Keeps things interesting, throw your partner off guard. So, alright, let's pop back into it. We're back into Muay Thai stance, nice and squared hips, squared shoulders. Step forward, Bend those knees, keep the heels light so you can turn. Guard high by the brow line, close the fingers, tuck the thumbs. Shoulders up, chin tucked. Hips curled forwards. Let's hit them with the 1-2. 1-2. And now this time we're going to slip an incoming cross. So we're visualizing a cross coming in, right, from that cross hand. And we're going to slip it with our cross hand. Boom. Turning in, keeping the guard high, getting the head off the center line. But remembering, don't turn too far over your center of balance. You want to still stay between those feet, so don't lean over. Just turn out, boom, and just get that head out of the way of the fist. Deflecting with this hand. Their cross arm is now extended and deflected, and they're open for a counter attack. So we're going to counter with a hook right to the head, just like we did from the slip for the jab in that first round. Step forwards and hit him with the 1-2. Guard high, 1-2. Guard high, 1-2. Down that center line, turn those fists over. 1-2, keep it going. 1-2. And let's slip the cross, and now we're going to counter by rotating back, whoosh, and hitting them in the head with that lead hook right there. Notice that lead hook is preloaded when we slip, and we can toss that arm right up, horizontal, locking the elbow in at 90, rotating through on the ball of the front foot, and drive that hook into the head, creating those openings. Back to stance, hit him with the 1-2. Chin tuck, 1-2. Chin tuck, 1-2. Shoulders rolled for defense, 1-2. Back to stance, let's slip the cross with our cross hand. Slip that cross, and we're going to counter with a hook. Whoosh! Boom, as we rotate back. Back to stance, guard high, 1-2. Guard high, 1-2. Tuck that chin. Nice and balanced, nice and centered. 1-2, keep it going, 1-2. 1-2. 1-2. At your pace, turn those fists over, land on the large knuckles, and visualize that opponent. He's throwing a cross. We're going to slip it with the cross hand, same hand that they're throwing. If they're orthodox fighters, let's counter with a hook to the head. Whoosh! And back to stance. Square up. 1-2. 1-2. 1-2. And count. Slip the hook. Slip the cross. Boom. Right there. Counter with the hook. Whoosh! And back to stance. When you slip the cross, we're rotating on that rear foot, turning the hips and the shoulders, just like we do when we throw the cross. And when we counter, we're going to rotate back on the lead foot. Whoosh! And throw that hook in there, right into that opening. Back to stance, hit him with the 1-2. Down that center line, 1-2. Down that center line, nice and balanced. 1-2. Now slip that cross and counter with the hook. Whoosh! Back to stance, and that's the end of round 2. Cloud Valen, thank you for joining. Appreciate your support. And it's Bob, Beat Depression Bob. Heck yeah. He's out here helping us visualize that target. Also, we used him a little bit earlier to show how we can create those openings on our opponent or on our target when we're getting our technical training done. Now we talked about 2 slips. We slipped the jab, we slipped the cross, and we saw how slipping to the outside of those punches opens up those weak points for us to counter. So now we're going to put both of those slips together and those counters together, and we're going to toss a few different options that you can counter with when you're coming back out of those slips. So we'll go through it kind of at a moderate pace. Remember, challenge yourself to your experience level. And moderate that intensity that you're throwing those punches with. Body weight you put behind it. Whoosh. The rotation in those feet. Pop back into stance. Guard high by the brow line. Let's toss those 1-2s first. 1-2. Down that center line. 1-2. Center line. 1-2. Back to stance. And now we're going to slip the jab. So that's going to be with the jab hand. Slip the jab. And we're going to counter with the hook like we did last time. Boom, countering with the rear hook, keeping the guard high. We just capped him with that weak spot. Now back to stance, and we're going to pick a different counter this time. So start with the 1-2. Down that center line, slip the jab. Boom, we slip the jab. And this time when we twist back, we're going to toss a low body shot. So drop that fist down and bring it around, rotating on the rear foot. Whoosh, we're tossing that fist into the body. Low body shot, still another opening point for counter. Back to stance, 1-2, slip the jab, boom. And now this time we're going to toss an uppercut if you're comfortable with it. Drop that fist down, turning the palm up, facing you. And as we rotate back, just like we did for the hook to the body and the head, we're going to send that fist up and around. around that extended arm and into the chin, through the face of that depression dummy. Deep inhale back. Reset to your stance. Hit him with the 1-2. 1-2. 1-2. 1-2. Slip the jab. Slip the jab. Counter with a hook to the head. Wuss. Back to stance. Let's see the similarities here. 1-2. Bump, bump. Slip the jab. Counter to the body. Bam. Body shot. Back to stance. 1-2. Slip the jab. Boom. And we're going to counter with an uppercut. Dropping that fist, twisting through the hips on the ball of the rear foot. Send it up that center line. Boom. Right through the face of that depression dummy. Guard high. And we're going to start slipping the cross. 1-2. 1-2. Slip the cross with the same hand, right? That cross hand. And counter with a hook to the head. Boom. As you rotate back. Back to stance. Square up. 1-2. Slip the cross. Boom. Slip in with that same hand, our cross hand here, getting the head off the line, and now we're going to hit him with a body shot. Dropping that fist low, twist through, and drive that fist into the body. Back to stance. Guard high, hit him with the 1-2. 1-2. 1-2. Keep that guard high, slip the cross, boom. There's the cross, and now we're going to drop that fist down, send it underneath his extended arm, right up into his face with a counter uppercut, boom. Back to stance, guard high, let's go. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Slip the jab, and counter to the head, wuss. Slip the cross, counter to the head, wuss. Slip the jab, counter to the body, wuss. Slip the cross, counter to the body, wuss. And that is the end of round 3. Luca said, girls can do karate? Absolutely. Girls can do all the same thing that guys can do out here. And martial arts is for everybody. Thank you guys so much. Everybody for tuning in now. Anyone who has shown up for themselves and for others. Thank you for supporting the cause. Being part of this global social support system we're building for each other. Encouraging that growth mindset. Sharing those tools that work for us. I hope that you got the high intensity workout you were looking for today. And I hope you challenged yourself to your skill level and found room to grow as you develop new techniques and become more fluid in them. Remember, if you didn't get your high intensity workout in for today, in our brief time together, give yourself that bonus round. Spend some quality time with Bob. Spend some quality time with the kick pads and a friend, or a heavy bag, or a speed bag. There's plenty of options out there. But make sure that you give yourself a challenge for the day so that you can continue to grow outside of that comfort zone. Don't stay comfortable. There's no growth in that comfort zone. Gotta keep giving ourselves that challenge, because life is gonna challenge us every single day. So it's in here that we get to prepare to meet those challenges. Shout out as well to Ali Muay Thai team. Appreciate you out there. Thank you for the support. And until next time, I'll catch you guys. Same Sack time, same Sack channel, same Sack life. Sack man out.